Hi, my name is Daphne Verlek and I teach Dutch as a second language to expats in the Netherlands. Today's video is about making a choice for your child between a Dutch school and an international school. This video is not about which choice is the right one or the wrong one. It's 10 points that give you information to make the right choice for your child. The first thing to consider is, of course, the instruction language. In international schools, of course, this is English, and Dutch is often offered as a second language. In Dutch schools, of course, the language is Dutch. Important difference is that English is being taught as a subject and not as a second language. The quality of English in Dutch schools is very high. Usually the quality of the Dutch in the international schools is not as high as the English in Dutch schools. Number 2 is the curriculum. Of course, in international schools, the curriculum is also international. It might be, for instance, the IB curriculum or the British curriculum or the American curriculum for that matter. And in the Netherlands, we teach only one curriculum, and that's the Dutch national curriculum. So if you go to a Dutch school, that's what you will get. Important information is, of course, what the costs are of the two different types of schools. So international schools are considered to be like private schools in the Netherlands, so they are totally paid by the parents. For an international school, you pay somewhere between 5,000 and 25,000 or even more per year per child. Regular Dutch schools, they are free, they are government funded. So we don't make a distinction between private school and government funded schools. All schools are government funded. So parents only pay a small voluntary contribution. So if your child goes to primary school, so PO, then the contribution is below 100 euros. And if your child goes to secondary education, which is called VO, the contribution will be somewhere between 100 and 500 euros. So in that case, before you choose a school, they will tell you what the costs will be. It stays voluntary, but yeah, you can make a choice whether to take your child to that school or not. Student population. Of course, there's a big difference between the student population in an international school or a Dutch school. International school, the name already says it, has a very international population, and a lot of children are either children from expats or diplomats. This means that also the jobs of these parents are usually jobs in the higher segment. In Dutch schools, you find a bigger variety in where parents work, but you also find more Dutch students or students from long-term residents. Also, in a Dutch school, you'll find maybe a more stable, but at least a more Dutch peer group. And why do I say more stable? That's because in international schools, you've got children that move from one country to another with their parents when their parents move jobs. And in the Netherlands, that's not so much the case. To me, one of the most important things to consider is the integration into Dutch society. So if your child goes to international school, you're 100% sure that they will have a strong integration in the international society worldwide. When they move to another school, they will integrate very easily. If they move to another country, same. So if you have a short-term stay in the Netherlands, that's the ideal thing to do. If you want to stay in the Netherlands, a thing to consider is, do I want my child to integrate into Dutch society? If you take your child to a Dutch school, that integration will be so much easier, because within the Dutch school, the Dutch culture, the Dutch language, the Dutch norms and the society will all be taught or will be used automatically. So the child learns them just by being there and participating. And of course, if you're staying for a long-term time or staying permanently, it makes it much easier for the child to integrate into the Dutch society. Earlier in this video, we talked about the budget, the price tag to the schools. Something that's totally different in an international school is that they have more budget, so they have a smaller class sizes. That's what they can afford and that's what they can give, which is super nice, of course, because your child gets a more personalized support, and in a smaller group the child can get more attention. In Dutch schools we usually have bigger classes than the ones in the international schools, and support does exist. Don't worry about that at all, but it's not as personalized as it would be in an international school. Number 7, where can my child go after this school? So if your child goes to an international school, of course the access to schools abroad is much easier. I must say that that's the same for many Dutch schools as well, because the level of English in Dutch schools is very high. But in general, it's easier to access an international university if you come from an international school. In the Netherlands, the options are less than when you do speak Dutch very well. So between 30 and 50% of the studies are English spoken or have an English spoken option. And then we talk about HBO and university, so everything that comes after secondary school. If you go to a regular Dutch school, then of course all schools in the Netherlands are an option for you. And you can choose then between an English spoken version or a Dutch spoken version, or even both. In the Netherlands, holidays are regulated, sometimes per region and sometimes for the whole country in one go, for instance at Christmas. So international schools, they have a different calendar. Usually they don't follow the Dutch holiday calendar. That means that some activities might not be available to you, but the good thing is that they have more weeks of holiday, for instance over Christmas, so there's more possibilities to go back to your home country. Also, international schools, they offer a wide variety of extracurricular activities. So your child will be occupied from the morning till the afternoon at school. In Dutch schools that is different, so of course they follow the Dutch school calendar, they follow the Dutch holiday calendar. So they have a strong local community involvement, but the extracurricular activities are done in clubs and what we call verenigingen. So it's outside of the schools. That way children also meet other children their age that might have a different religion or a different school, and that way they are exposed to many different types of children. We currently have between 13 and 14 international schools in the Netherlands. That means that they are spread all over the country, but they do not have the same amount of places available, of course, as Dutch schools. That means that there is a possibility that you will encounter a long waiting list before your child can get into the international school. Especially when you, for instance, go to Amsterdam or Utrecht, so one of the big cities, then you will definitely encounter a waiting list. If you take your child to a regular Dutch school, it's far less likely that there is a waiting list. And if so, then it's much easier to get your child into another school that's also nearby, and then you can wait on the waiting list until the spot at your favorite school opens up. So if we look at the purpose of the different schools, then an international school is mostly focused on expat families who want to stay internationally focused, or if you are an expat family that has a short-term or uncertain stay. That way your child will stay internationally trained, and it's far easier to move to another country and to move your child into another international school. If your plan is to stay in the Netherlands, then the Dutch school is what you need, because those are meant for families that are planning to stay long term. And if you want a full integration into the Dutch society, a Dutch school is a better option. I hope this video gave you all the information you needed. If you have any more questions, or if you want a personalized advice for your child or your children, you can contact me via my website www.daphneverlek.nl. And if you are interested in Dutch classes, the same website. Hope to see you at the next video. Bye bye!